Hello there and welcome to the Card Grotto. Today I've got a craft room tour for you. This is an updated one. I did one around October last year, I believe, and I thought I'd do an updated one since I've got a new camera, and apologies if it's a bit shaky in parts, and also I've changed a few things around, so I thought I'd show you. So this is the view as you come in through the door. That's my main desk area and that's my computer desk there. And then I've got some of these cabinets, and then on the right side I've got some shelving units there. So I'll start on this side. So as you come in, this is to the left, and then I've got one of these units here from IKEA. These are the Helmer units, and as much as I can I will post links to on my blog of all my storage. At the top I've got a little basket that I keep my new items in, and then this cabinet here holds my my wood mounted stamps and clear stamps that aren't paper tray ink. So at the top here I've got this first drawer holds my favourite thing stamps, waltzing mouse stamps, some odd girl stamps, and then paper smooches at the back there. This drawer here holds basically the main bulk of my clear stamps, so all different kind of makes. They're all kind of lined up here, so these are Kaiser Craft, and then those ones at the back there are all Stamp-A-V, and then some all different brands basically in there. And then this drawer here holds my Elsie Bells clear stamps and my clearly besotted stamps. And then these are Penny Black and Forever Friends. So I've got my wood mounted stamps there, and then I've got my clear sets at the back. This drawer here is a mixture of all different companies: Tatty Teddy, Stampenduous, Stampin' Up, things like that. And then the last one here has got my Muse stamps, my Elsie Bell stamps that were made by Muse, and then some background stamps here and some old Paper Mania ones. So that's that cabinet. I'm going to try and move slowly so I don't make you sick. And then obviously my computer desk here. So I've just got my Gorgeous Girls mug and coaster that I got from Tracy, thank you. My calendar, and just some, various officey kind of type things. And then in this tin here, this is a Mayor Road fee break tin, I think it's called, and they don't sell them anymore, I don't think, because I tried to find, I couldn't link anything. On the outside here I've got a little magnet that Marlou made for me, thank you. And then inside I've got all my embossing folders. So I've got Stampin' Up, Cuttlebug mainly, and then I label them. I just write on the actual folder, which is fine for me. And then my paper tray ink ones, try and get one out. They're just still in the plastic folders, and then I've got their name written on the plastic folder. So that's that. And then this is my main working desk. I've got my printer, and then I've got my Copic marker storage. This is from Studio 3 Solutions in the USA. They stopped selling them for quite a while and I couldn't link them. As of this week, I think, they've started trading again, and you can order from them from the UK. However, I just warn you, shipping is a lot of money. But they are wood, and they're quite big. They're very good. I really like them. They come in sort of these, so that is like one unit there. So I've got 3, and I've just ordered another one because, as you can see, I've run out of space. This is all of the Copic markers that they currently have that are out, and so they do fit in 3 units. It's just if Copic brings out any more, which I'm sure they will, I'm going to be a bit stuck. So at the top I've just got a pencil case with my speaker pens in, and then I've got a little tub with my personalised stamps. Above my desk I've got 2 shelves. These are from the Great Little Trading Company, and they've got my Prima flowers on. And then I've got my Scotch tape dispenser there. And then this is my tool carousel, which is from the Great Little Trading Company. They still sell it, but they sell it slightly differently, if that makes sense. So they have, mine has got drawers at the bottom all the way round. The new one doesn't. I think it's got every other, and the dividers are slightly different. But I really recommend it actually if you couldn't get the Making Memories ones that they had before. So at the front here, I just have my most used adhesives and some Copic multi-liners, and my Stampin' Up matte stack here. I've got a light here. This is a daylight lamp. It's just one of those little clip-on ones, and I hold my washi tape on there. And I've got my scissors, my ATG gun, rulers, my corner chomper, some glue, and various other tools in here. And then craft knives and yeah, things like that basically. And in the little drawers I've just got random little things, so like adhesive removers. This one is all my die cuts. Just some little tools and things like that. And then my craft mat. The tables themselves I got from MFI long time ago. I would like to get some white ones ideally, but these are fine for the time being. So underneath the desk I've got two more of these units, and I'll show you what's in them. So first of all, I've got tools in this top one, and my Copic marker charts there. And then in here I've got Copic refills, I've got my swatches, this is the one I made paper tray ink, and then I've got one that I made with my Memento marker ink pads, and then I've got my Copic airbrush system and my label maker. The next drawer here has got all my sort of stamping stuff. So I've got kitchen roll, my wipes, my Stamp-A-Majig, that's my Fiskars stamp press, and then I've got my acrylic blocks there at the back. This drawer here is punches. So I've got all my Stampin' Up ones on the right hand side, and then my X-Cut ones on the left. And in here I've got some slipper grip. It's just basically just it's kind of like, it's not fabric, but it's a bit like plasticky stuff. It stops the punches sliding around. That's from Lakeland. And then I've got my Martha Stewart punches, again on the right hand side and a couple on the left, and then just some random other punches. This drawer I've got my Martha Stewart scoreboard, my mini one, and then I've got my Cuttlebug cutting plates, and then a couple of Cuttlebug embossing folders that don't fit in the tin, the large ones, and a couple of Cuttlebug dies. And then at the bottom here I've got my Sizzlitz dies, and just one Spellbinders die that I haven't put away yet. So then moving on to the right hand drawers. At the top one here I've got adhesives. So I've got smaller adhesives at the front and tape, and then I've got all my glue dots, and then foam pads and things like that on that side. Next I've got poly bags, which isn't very exciting. I've then got some of my main used card blanks, although I have been making my own recently. This is a miscellaneous drawer. Basically at the moment I just have my Easy Mount foam in there, and just some old felt and things like that at the back. This is all my paper tray ink felt. I'm hoping that I don't want any more because I can't fit any more in the drawer. And then I've got my paper tray ink ribbon. So then to the right of my desk I've got another one of these units. This is a basket here, another small one like what I keep my new things in. These are items from Dies to Die For, to use as design team items that I get from Tracy. And yeah, so this is my last unit here. I keep my large X-Cut guillotine here at the side. I haven't really found anywhere else to put it at the moment. And then at the side there is my glass cutting mat, which is 12 by 12, and then my large Martha Stewart scoreboard there. So these drawers here, the top one holds more card blanks and paper shredding envelopes. The second one, more card blanks. The third one here is more Prima flowers, basically anything that I can't fit on the shelves or on my windowsill. And then these 3 drawers are just tools really, so that's my small X-cut guillotine, and then I've got my Cuttlebug extended plates and my foam mat. This is embossing stuff and my circle cutter, and then this is just a mixture of stuff. It really needs clearing out really, but it's just kind of random tools, sponges, that kind of thing. That's my windowsill. I've got some more jars with Prima flowers on there. These are all kind of like the flat flowers. And then moving across to the other side of the room, this is just a cupboard that's actually got the boiler in, because this room used to be the bathroom, so there's nothing very exciting in there. And then I've got these units here. These are the stackable units. I think the company's called The Best Organiser, and I got them from Storage for Crafts, and I will link them down below. So I've got 2 boxes at the top. The bottom one has 8 by 8 paper and the top one has scraps. And these are my 12 by 12 storage. So these are all cardstock. So at the top I've got some Stampin' Up card and then some Doodlebug. And then I've got all of this, which is paper, my 12 by 12 paper. So I've got a lot of my Mind's Eye. And then I've got, going down, I've got Doodlebug. I've got 2 sections which are male and female. These are companies that I haven't got enough to sort of have their own trade for. And then Echo Park, Bo Bunny, Stamping Up, Prima and Paper Mania, Tim Holtz, stickers, Christmas and seasonal. And then I've got these drawers here, which are exactly the same. You can buy the unit separately and then you can put in what you like. So you can either put trays or drawers or however you like really. So these are all my embellishments in here. And again, I've got everything labelled. So the top drawer is my Doodlebug brads and buttons. So I keep those together in the same colours that Doodlebug have, and I've labelled all of the separate things for that. And then these are generally other brads, really kind of all different makes. Most of them are Basil or Paper Mania. And then I've got just all other embellishments, basically small embellishments. So I've got some brads, some clips, I've got some wooden embellishments from Marlou, I've got some eyelets, some card candy, felt buttons, different brads, different things in there. And then these are my metal embellishments and dewdrops. These are mainly charms and some pins, and then I've got my dewdrops there on the right hand side. And then this is alphabets and numbers. I haven't got many, as you can see. I've got a couple of packs of thickers and some Paper Mania ones down there. These are all my rub-ons, mainly Doodlebug and Basil and some Pebbles ones there. And then this is cardstock embellishments, some Craftwork cards, mini messages, some Tim Holtz tickets which I've had forever and I haven't used yet, and some Doodlebug and some Craftwork cards, flowers. And then this is Doodlebug stickers, so I've got alphabets on the right there, and then these are called doodles, they're cardstock messages basically. And then here is my thread, so I've got the We Are Memory Keepers So Easy threads in the different colours, and then I've got some Stampin' Up different threads at the back there. These are my Doodlebug Baker's Twine. As you can see, I love Doodlebug Baker's Twine. I've got quite a lot of that. This is my rhinestones drawer, so I've got my Doodlebug on the right, I've got some My Mind's Eye and some Paper Mania, some The Hobby House, and then I've got Paper Mania and some Basil and some Prima there at the back. And then these are my pearls, so again I've got quite a lot of Doodlebug pearls, and then I've got some Hobby House, some Pebbles card candy, and then some just different companies there. I've got all my flat back non-adhesive ones in these little pockets here. And then I've got buttons in this drawer, which are buttons that are different makes. I've kind of put them in different colours. These ones here are my doodlebug shaped buttons, and then I've got some Stampin' Up ones in them. And then these are my paper tray ink buttons. So moving along to the last cabinet here. This is a shelving unit from IKEA. Unfortunately, I don't think they sell it anymore because I couldn't link it when I tried to find it. So at the top here I have my 6x6 papers. These are in these boxes by Grotto Hopper. They're actually photo boxes. They fit these 6x6 pads really well. So I've got paper and card of all different makes, and then I've got some various different pads by different makes. I've got my Echo Park and Prima pads in there, and then I've got my Kaiser Craft pads in there. My My Mind's Eye pads, and then Doodlebug and My Mind's Eye in that one. And then here is all my A4 cardstock. So majority of it is paper tray ink. That's all my paper tray ink card there. And then I've got some paper tray ink papers, and then some just different makes of papers basically, and cardstock, and my white cardstock. And then I've just got some magazines and catalogues and things there, and then I've got a folder with all my stuff from my Copic colouring class. And then these are my unmounted stamps here. They're all in DVD cases. Again, I'll link up to where I get them down below, and then I've labelled all of them, and there's 2 layers back. And then these here are my paper tray ink stamps. If you've seen my other video of how I store my paper tray ink stamps, I have changed it slightly in that I had them in binders, Tim Holtz binders, and I basically got to the point where I couldn't fit any more binders on the shelf, and I didn't really want to go to another shelf. So I got these baskets from Tesco's, really inexpensive baskets, and I still store them exactly the same way, in that they're in the binder inserts. So I put them on 2 sheets of acetate, and I say I've got a video there, and I actually got the idea from the Paper Tray Ink forum. And yeah, so I keep the name of the stamp on the top, and then obviously the stamps there, and then the new sets I keep the insert at the back. And then this is really good because you can just flip through what you want. And then as you can see here, if this dot is purple that I've coloured in on the name label, that means that I've got a die to match. So here at the bottom I have my dies, basically. If you've seen my other video, again, I have a video on how I store my thin metal dies. It's exactly the same as what it was before, however I had them in A5 cases, and I managed to get some A4 cases. You can get them from the Crafter's Companion website, and I'll link down below again. And so they're exactly the same as they were, but in A4 cases now. Nestabilities dies, MFT Dynamics, Paper Tray Ink dies, and then various other dies which are mainly Memory Box and CC Designs. In the purple case there I've got my quick cuts, then I've got my Cuttlebug machine and my sewing machine. I'm hoping to be able to make a cover for that sewing machine so it doesn't get so dusty. In the bottom drawer here I've got my ink pads, and they're 3 boxes down on each side. So I've got my Memento dewdrops, my paper tray inks, and then I've got various other ones underneath, some Doodlebug and some Stampin' Up and things like that. I've got some stamp cleaner and some glimmer mists. I've got my Copic cleaner, I've got my little Xyron X machine, I've got some chipboard. In these tins here are more chipboard. Got my Memento markers, and then I've got another Xyron machine there. I've got some embossing powders, and then here I've just got a couple of reels of Stampin' Up ribbon, and then all in here is my glitters. So all of the silver topped ones are Doodlebug, and then I've got some stickles there at the bottom. And then last but not least, I've got my reeled ribbon storage. So I use these cases here. They are from Grotto Hopper again. These are the embellishment cases. and again I'll link up at the bottom. So they come like this, and then you can fit these boxes in, so you buy these boxes separately. And then how I've done it is I've just reeled up the ribbon inside, and it's really good because you can just pull out however much ribbon you want. So I've got 2 of them under there, and then I have one here to the right hand side which has all my twine in one side, and then the other side has large boxes which has got seam binding there and some Stampin' Up! Ribbon and things like that, and that one just stays down the side there. So that was a tour of my craft room. I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope to see you soon.